In today's episode, we're joined by a brilliant couple who brought equal parts honesty and humour to their story of adoption. As a same-sex male couple, they spoke candidly about their journey to becoming dads, from the first steps in the adoption process to the highs and lows along the way and what life looks like now as a family. They opened up about navigating the system, the unique challenges they faced, their son's experience of adoption, and most of all, the deep, joyful love they have for him. It's a conversation that's funny, moving, and refreshingly real. So, Ben and Aaron, when did you decide to adopt?
It's not something that I ever really thought about, and it was because I always was going down the role of surrogacy. So I always thought, oh yeah, we'll do surrogacy instead. But Aaron works in the school.
So yeah, working in school, and I've seen the kids about. I've seen the number of kids which are in the care system, and I thought there's enough kids out there. Why do we want to bring some more in? I've even had my best friend, best woman at my wedding years and years ago, we met her at uni, had even offered to be a surrogate for us. But no, so just seeing the number of kids that need a good home.
And then it was like, you convinced me after we got married that actually, no, let's have a look at adopting.
And you started working in school, and even now you say, actually,
Yeah.
no, I see exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah, since I've started at school, it is now, oh yeah, there's so many looked after children and they just need a good home.
Yeah.
And it is it's just heartbreaking sometimes.
Yeah. Right. It's at the point that you start saying, oh, we've got new kids here that are doing this, that and the other. And we have to go, actually, no, we don't want to know anymore. We don't want to know anymore.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
Because you say they're like kleptomaniacs, aren't they? As soon as you start adopting, you can't stop.
Yeah.
That's such a lovely way to come to the decision to adopt. So can you tell me a little bit about how you started the process?
So we actually sat in a car park of Toby Carvery, all the way down in Essex.
Good old Toby.
It was just like we just Aaron was flicking through adoption agencies, and we settled on at the time it was After Adoption.
Okay.
And then obviously it swapped to Adoption Focus, and we just landed on it. We liked all the after adoption support that they offered.
We also like the fact that you could pick from anywhere in the country as well.
Yeah.
So if it had been county, it was only kids in Derbyshire, or only kids in Essex, or only kids in. And with After Adoption or Adoption Focus, whichever one that we were looking at, it's kids from all over.
Yeah. So you made your decision at Toby Carvery.
Yeah.
Where you were going. What was the assessment process like for you? Was it what you expected?
Incredibly intrusive.
Traumatic.
Yeah, it brought up a lot for us, especially as LGBT parents or prospective parents.
You see, that didn't bother me. It was more we had several social workers work with us before we found the right one that fitted.
Okay.
And she was fantastic. And she really supported us. But it was just the intrusive questions that we kept getting asked. And
the thing is, we understood why. We knew what it was going to be. We were glad that it was intrusive, because obviously you've got to know this is the child's forever home. They've obviously moved from a bare family. We understood it. But we'd literally finished the sessions and then you felt like you'd been 5 rounds.
Exhausted.
But especially for me, I struggled with my sexuality for years. I was growing up where it was, you go play rugby, you go and do this with birds, you do that, this, that and the other. And they were asking questions like, well, do you accept your sexuality? How would you feel, or how would family feel, and all that, all the stuff they needed to ask, and we got exactly why. I accepted it with adoption. I was completely fine with my sexuality, but it was just asking a lot of questions which did bring back. But obviously for you, Ben, that wasn't an issue because you've always been very self-confident. Very
flamboyant.
Happy.
Yeah, flamboyant is the word.
Obviously gay.
But yeah, and then it was the issues with...
I was a rugby player, so for years it was no one would ever suspect it. Ben, I think he popped out with glitter.
Yeah, pretty much. But then I found, like I said, until we found the right social worker,
Sue was amazing.
it was really hard work. And then it was the fact that I had an issue with my references from work, because the work would only provide, Ben has only worked from this date to this date.
The social manager had been on long-term sick, hadn't she?
Yeah. So something that should have took like a couple of minutes to do took a good 4 or 5 months to get.
We were even at the point they were. I remember at one point they asked, "Were we still serious?" Because obviously it was taking that long to progress. Which I get, obviously short resources, and you've got a couple which say they want to do it, but it's taking so long to get everything in. My side was fine because they were able to give references without an issue. But it was incredibly frustrating for us because we wanted to move on.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing. It's nothing Ben's old work had done. It's just a situation they were put in through the manager's illness. Nothing you guys had done. It's just obviously you needed those references.
But the circumstances kind of all just stacked up against you both at that time, I guess. And whilst that's happening,
it was demoralising for us and questioning. I think at some point I questioned, do I actually want to carry on with this? Purely because I felt like, are we not supposed to be doing this? Is there so much going in the way that it's trying to tell us not to?
That's huge, isn't it? That's huge. And I think there's only so much your resilience can be tested before you do start to think, actually, is this right? Is this for us? But you carried on, which is incredible testament to you both. Once you'd found a social worker that you could trust, which is really important when you are exploring so many personal things. How was family finding and finding your child?
It felt like Match.com. Because obviously you've had this massive gap of us being assessed. Then, you passed it. You've passed panel to adopt. Then here's a website with all the kids on it with as much information as you want. Yeah. Obviously, we weren't the usual. Most people seem to want a baby. You were talking for a little bit. We were thinking for a little bit of a baby.
Yeah, we wanted younger, but then we saw how many kids who were about 4 and up, and there was just so many of them. And I was just like, I can't warrant a baby. I'd rather have a kid with a bit of personality.
It was also with the babies, when it had the section that was going, personal preferences, what do they like? What do we know? It was just not known, not known, not known. Then when we found our little man, we'd had the agreement. We had 24 hours. We saw somebody we liked. We had a look at it together. We had 24 hours before we contacted the social workers to go, well, actually, can we find out more? And then we found found him, and there was a first picture of him sort of sat there in an orange T-shirt, finger against his mouth, with a cheeky little grin. And every single one we'd looked, well, how far away is this child? Or how do we get to this? As soon as we found him, it didn't matter. We literally went, okay, he's the one. We still gave ourselves 24 hours, but we literally woke up the next morning, looked at each other and went, yes, and just said yes straight off. We just knew there's something that just got our attention, and just, I think it was when we were looking through, we're both tall, and he's tall. He's into superheroes. He likes being outside, gardening.
Likes cooking. All of these kind of stuff.
It's like, it's a mini us.
Yeah, and even now, I look at him and he could actually be ours.
Yeah.
It's almost like...
just merged you both and here he is.
Normally, people are drawn to what represents them, aren't they? And the fact he's got brown hair that's like me, he's white. Which
big eyes, massive eyes.
Everyone, whenever somebody meets him and they talk to us, oh God, he's got such gorgeous eyes, his eyelashes. He's like the Pied Piper, though. People just follow him.
Yeah, we don't know what it is. People just are drawn to him.
But he's our perfect.
Yeah.
He's trouble, but he's our trouble. And anyone that looks at us and is expecting a child that is going to be perfect, then you're kidding yourself.
Yeah.
We were talking about it when we were in the car, talking about, well, what should we say? And we even spoke to Dylan about it. And he was sort of saying, well, they've just got to accept me.
You just adopt just because.
Yeah. Well, we were asked continuously in the adoption assessment process, would you adopt a child with special needs? And I think we both went, well, we wouldn't adopt a child who has special needs, but if our child happened to develop them or had them, then they're ours. And I think, again, you're kidding yourself if you are expecting a child to come to you that's been through all that early life trauma and hasn't got something.
Yeah.
Because you've
Absolutely.
obviously part of your master's, Ben, isn't it? You did a whole section on neurodiversity, and the likelihood of it with kids that have been through the trauma is massively increased.
Yeah, because it does alter brain structure, doesn't it? And it has such an impact. He's your perfect. You know, it's about that, isn't it? That being a family unit.
Yeah.
His adoption doesn't define him. He's not.
They don't go, he's my adopted grandson.
No, he's just a grandson. He's just my son. So
yeah, the fact that
just what you want.
He will be outside as Rob's got his man cave, his Aladdin's cave of tools, and the fact that he's got his own little tool set in there. So when he goes down, Dylan is just pottering around in the garden with Grandad.
So you kind of told me a little bit about your family, but how old was Dylan when you found him, and how old is he now?
He was 4 when we found him. He came to us at 4.5, and then it has now been about 5.5 years of him, and he is 10, coming up 11 in September.
And we're still questioning how is it. It doesn't feel like he's never been here. I can't believe it's been 5.5 years, but I can't believe he was never not here. I still remember the walking past, because we did his room when he was moving in, and we put blue letters up with Dylan on his door. And I made sure every time I went past, before he was even there, I would walk past and I'd say, "Night, Dylan," just to get me in the habit. And I now can't even imagine saying goodnight to a room that didn't have him in.
Yeah, it's like the house has never not had him. It's like he's always been here. The only thing I always say to him is, "I wish I had you from earlier, but
we wish you didn't, because
if I had you from earlier, would you still be the Dylan who's?"
He's got an amazing imagination. He loves superheroes, but we both think he loves superheroes in imagination because that's what his brain did to be able to cope with the early life trauma.
Yeah.
Right. An escapism type thing.
Yeah. So we've got him because he went through what he went through.
Yeah.
But every single one of our walls has got his face beaming down as somehow. We're currently sat in our living room that's got the old, 2 years ago, holiday photos all over the wall. Our living room, our other one has got the one from February and summer that Dylan picked, with all of us on there as well. But when Nagina came around yesterday, he had to give her the tour, showing all the pictures and explaining, well, that one was from Istanbul's Illusion Museum. That one, well, we went there because there's the Blue Mosque behind. And I went into the Blue Mosque, and the Blue Mosque was amazing because I got to see where these people would go. But I've also been to a church, Nagina, and in the church you have this bit. Because we're very much, well, I certainly am, I know you are as well, that's the greatest barrier to tolerance is misunderstanding. So we made sure that he goes into a mosque or into Istanbul, he's been to churches, and we even say to him he gets to choose if he wants, like he did for a little while, want to be baptised. And then he decided he didn't want to be. But it's his decision.
He's a well-rounded little man.
Sounds very informed.
He's
makes
intelligent.
Oh God, he's intelligent.
Intelligent as well. Really ridiculously intelligent and eloquent. You wouldn't believe some of the words that he comes out with.
Both good and bad.
Yeah, I'm sure it's both a blessing and a curse, to be honest.
There's, I do think at times his intelligence was a curse when he was younger because he could understand what was happening. So he has the curly-whirly thing, which is the way his brain makes sense of how he was taken from birth family by social workers. but he still believes them to be God, who is it? It's the Joker.
Venom and Joker.
Yeah,
Super villains.
which again, that's how his brain has made sense of what's happened. Why he loves superheroes.
And it's worked for him, hasn't it? It's got him this far, and he sounds just an incredible little boy.
And anyone that is listening to this, just we focus on the positives. There are a lot of negatives, a lot of times where he's lashed out, a lot of times where he's not slept, a lot of times where we've had issues. But you have that with non-adopted children. And if we spent our whole time focusing on the negatives, then you wouldn't see the positives shining through. And there are a hell of a lot of positives with them.
Yeah, and your love for your son just radiates from you both. You know, it's so clear to see. It's beautiful, actually. We spoke a little bit about how, I guess for you, Aaron, the assessment process was quite triggering in terms of being in a same-sex couple. But what was the rest of the process like as a same-sex couple? You know, was family finding okay, or was it challenging? Or...
We were talking about it, and we were sort of saying, I don't think it was any different.
No.
They didn't say, oh, we're now going through this pathway because you're LGBTQ+. They didn't do any of that. It was just, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, just two dads. We were selected. One of the reasons
multiple times.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons we were selected for Dylan is because of us being both male, because Dylan needed positive male role models in his life.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, and someone who can say no.
Yeah,
he needs, because he has to have that structure, and the two males, like from what we see, it's very rigid. Everything is like, no, you don't do that. No, you don't do that. But
because
it's more the positive role model that we.
Well, when he came to us, he was a misogynist. 100%. He would with women, but we are blessed to have a lot of very strong women in his life. His family have got them in, and he's had a number of female teachers at school as well. His first ever teacher at school. Still speak to her now because I know her from work anyway. An incredibly positive relationship, which is say now he is so accepting the fact that he'll even go, oh, I don't like this because they're being, well, he knows words like misogynistic, homophobic and stuff like that. And he's even gone on, well, I don't like this person because they wouldn't like my friend X because he is not white. So that's a positive thing about us both being same-sex relationship. We are incredibly accepting of everyone. Because obviously that's what we believe, and that's how we live our lives, and passing that on. And we do say to him one thing, because he keeps talking about death, which is a bit of an autistic trait in him. But I say to him, I think I can live forever. And I can live forever because I can pass my values on to you. And you can pass your values on. And the fact that you already do it, the fact we went for a doctor's appointment 2 weeks ago to a different doctor's. And there was an old lady that was coming in, and Dylan got up straight away and opened the door for her. And then sat down to another one, got up again and opened the door for the next lady.
Oh, bless.
And that was just him. Whenever we go into a shop, he'll say thank you and have a nice day.
To anyone.
Yeah.
We can be walking down the street and you just go, what do you say to the lady or something? And he goes, oh, have a nice day. Just so.
He's like a 60-year-old man with it at times.
Yeah.
No wonder everybody falls in love with him. He sounds just incredible, and you know that is a credit to the values that you're instilling in him, isn't it? And teaching him a different way of living. And
well, there's one other thing we said when we wanted to make sure we did say, and we even said to him, "We're not your friend, we're your daddies." And anyone that thinks, "Oh, I'm going to adopt a child and they're going to be the friend," well, they're not. There are times that he hates us, and he hates us because we say, "Oh, actually, no, you're not allowed to go up the park by yourself." But there's other boys at my age. Yes, but Dylan, you are autistic, which means, yeah, it doesn't matter. Well, we get that, my love. But with it, you don't quite see the dangers. Oh, I do. Oh, why don't you treat me? And it is the battle, but he knows, and we always go to him, this is why. But there are things that he hates us for that he can't do. He did have his first ever cinema with friends and their parents last week, didn't he?
Yeah, it's quite successful.
You've got to accept that you don't know what you're getting. And you love them no matter what. And you assume if they do have autism, do have ADHD, they do have any of that, then that's them. If they don't have it, great. If they do, great.
It's them as the person, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's any child. You kind of never know, do you, what's round the corner?
Whether they're biologically yours, surrogates, natural or adopted, you're standing just as much chance either way.
He just sounds like an incredible little boy, though. I think you did touch on it when you said, like his granddad doesn't come into it. It's his granddad and that's it. But how did the people around you react to you become an adoptive parent?
I found that it's strange. All the other parents who with adopted kids or looked after children just gravitated towards you. You didn't realise it.
Just knew.
Yeah, it just appears. But also, you get a lot of. I know I've had of people. I couldn't do it. You're doing amazing. I couldn't do it. And especially when Dylan's being challenging, and I'll phone my mum up and just go moan down the phone on her. But
vent. Yep.
all I get is you're doing amazing. He wouldn't be who he is now if it wasn't for you. And I was like, yeah, but I don't see that at the precise second.
Yeah.
We see we haven't been able to sleep. We see we're terrible because he doesn't always brush his teeth every day because he's deregulated, and we should be able to get to his teeth every single day.
But no, like, a lot of it, everyone was really accepting.
Well, in fact, Dylan, so Ben and I both work in a school. Dylan goes to the feeder school. I have a lot of kids that would either have seen us pick Dylan up or seen us with Dylan. Well, wait, is he your brother? Well, no. And then point to the ring and they get it. And then it's like, but you've got a son. So he's adopted. Oh, that's so sweet. Oh my God, that's amazing. And just because of that, they just like, oh my God. And in my classroom, I've got a rainbow flag that's up. I am intentionally open about my sexuality because when I was at school, we had section 49, whatever it was, that had just been repealed when I left, about talking about LGBT within school. So I didn't know any positive, didn't know any gay people apparently at school. So I make sure that I do. So I've got my husband and I've got my son, so they can see that. And I think because I say Ben is slightly more effeminate, comfortable, obvious than I am. And then you see me that was a rugby player and now a lot more accepting of himself and a bit more flamboyant than he was. But we're just two normal people.
And the kids, like I said, the kids at school all know about Dylan. And yet will get, it's so sweet. Or I work with a lot of looked after kids. But it's also the fact that because I understand them, I have a better understanding than some of my colleagues who just don't get why they're behaving how they're behaving.
Well, I've brought into my department because I'm the only one that has adopted. You've got other people that have kids which are neuronorm or neurodiverse or not adopted, haven't had the early life trauma, and I'm sort of driving to get them to understand more. I've brought in fidget toys, as in ordered a couple £100 worth of fidget toys that everyone stands at their doors with now. We've got TheraBands which go in the chair legs for it, and it's just trying to push that. And you've even got a maths teacher that came to see me the other week. She walked away with some of the fidget toys because we both had the nurture groups, which is just trying to get them to understand it.
And because of Dylan being adopted and how he is, we understand kids like that better.
Yeah.
So that's why we can do stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I remember this was probably about 10 years ago in my previous schools, and I had a student, and we'd learned all about neurally diverse kids, we'd learned about black kids, and I'd heard, oh, this kid, when he goes home, is punching holes in the wall and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Right, well, I suppose, I'll understand that. Let's just get on. And, okay, I know he does it. I knew that happened, but you don't know it until you live it. And now when it's actually happening, I'm like, okay, well, it could be because A, B, C, D. Well, actually, how can I change the way I am in the classroom? And it is. And it is now, you do...
building up the relationships, I think, is the key thing that we now have. And like I said, Dylan is the one that's allowed us to understand the relationships that we've between the kids.
We even say to Dylan, go, well, we had the best teacher. Oh, who was that? You. So Dylan has taught us so much, though.
That's beautiful. But that's because you've allowed him to. You know, sometimes I think as parents we can fall into the trap of thinking we're the ones who have everything to teach our children. But actually they've got so many insights into people and relationships and how to connect.
Yeah. Well, I think we both always say we understand what Dylan's been through, but we don't understand it because we've not lived it. We know his past, we know how that can impact him, we can see what's doing now, but we haven't lived it to know really what it is.
But you try.
We try.
You try to understand it, and that will speak volumes to Dylan and all the other children that you work with. Is trying to understand is so key, isn't it? So this is a big question, I think, but what advice would you two give to people thinking about adoption?
My big thing is, if you're thinking about it, there's obviously some reason why. Mm-hmm. So just go for it. And when it does happen, accept any help that is given. And the one thing that me and Aaron have learned is we asked for help from you guys, and we got Nagina, and Nagina has been fantastic. It really helped. And sometimes it is just someone just have a sounding board who gets it. And the thing is, if you do adopt, is not to rush anything. We were told to cocoon for a month, so we had spent a month of just us three.
No, we had family not going, can we see him? Can we see him? Can we see him?
Like, no, it's just for us this month, just so that he can get used to us.
And how did you find that?
I think it was really good. It made us have that kind of. We got to know him. We got to know what he liked, what he didn't like, before we went out in the big wide world and went, here he is.
That was all three of us for 3 weeks, and then you and him for 1 week when I went back to work.
Yeah.
Because I had half term for 2 weeks. No, half term for 1 week. Then 2 weeks of my paternity leave. Then it was 6 weeks back to work, and then 6 weeks off for summer. But yeah, for mine it is a couple of bits. Don't take yourself too seriously. Have a thick skin. As only the other day I had Dylan sort of stood behind me going, Daddy Aaron, you've got such a big bald spot right there. It's massive. I'd be so depressed if I had that. I think. Thanks, Dylan.
Oh, lovely.
We roll with it. We roll with whatever Dylan needs. Dylan, as much as it pains me to say it, Dylan does rule the house in one way, because everything we do is because of him.
Yeah, Christmas time we used to go away. Christmas time is for the last 5.5 years has been in. We're always at home because that's what he needs. That's what his routine regular with. Father Christmas leaves presents in the hallway because we've got an old house. Hallway outside, because then that's secure, but he's then not coming into our house, which would cause issues for Dylan. Dylan's tooth for the Tooth Fairy goes out in that hallway because Dwayne the Rock Tooth Fairy Johnson collects the tooth from out there so he doesn't come into the house. But also advocate, massively advocate, and stick to your guns. We took Dylan to Pride in Brighton. This was, 2 years
Second
after?
year we had him.
Second year we had him, and we planned so much, prepped so much. I think when you do have any child, or especially adopted child, your family, your immediate family unit is your primary focus. You've got a little boy, a little girl, whatever you've got, that you are their routine, you are their safe person, and you've got to protect them.
And you know them best.
Yeah.
And what they need.
Well, that's important for school as well. Obviously, both work in a school. We've seen parents that have advocated incredibly well. We have so much contact with Dylan's school. We had contact with his first school, and I think we were in there, probably every day for the week before he went to school, and then probably at least once a week afterwards. Even just going, well, what's he done here? How can we help? What's happening in the classroom at home? Here's information. But it's also incredibly important to keep school in the loop, because I know we've had it with Dylan. These children have had to fend for themselves. Mm-hmm. There are things that they've had to say when they're fending for themselves to protect themselves. Yeah. There are also things that they may just say when they're in school that are taken completely out of context. And if school contacts you, going, well, they've said this bit, and whereas if you've got a relationship with them, they know what's happening. You keep them up to date. They know this child is. Because when they're coming home, they're deregulated, and this is their safe space.
Advocate.
Advocate
all the time.
Yeah.
Thank you both so much. It's been a privilege to hear about Dylan and you both, and the three of you as a family.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
A massive thank you to our wonderful guests, Aaron and Ben, for being so open, so honest, and so wonderfully funny. Their story is a powerful reminder that there's no one way to build a family, and that love, laughter, and showing up every day are what truly matters. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review, share it with anyone you think it would help, and let us know if you'd like to join us here. Thanks for listening.